Hey guys, hope you are doing well. Today we are here with the author J.B. Pearls. So let's move on to talking to Sir J.B. Pearls, and let's start with a brief introduction about himself. So hey sir, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
All right sir,
Uh,
so I would want to start with a brief intro about yourself. Tell us sir about yourself.
well, I'm currently here in Florida. I have two kids and a wife, and I had been living here and working here in the States, and graduated from a university years ago, University of South Florida, and been working as a data consultant for a school system.
All right, so that's great to hear. So, can you tell us about your early life and were you an avid reader from the beginning? Because the novel, I also read it, I loved it. So, it sparked mystery, romance, thriller. It was also sort of horror thriller. So, I loved it. So, I just wanted to ask that were you an avid reader from the beginning? And from where did you get the idea of, writing such great fiction stories?
Mostly, actually, I watch movies and uh, great movies like Burt Reynolds on Deliverance, and if you remember that, Kathy
Yeah.
Bates, The Misery, and those are the things that have encouraged me and molded my head. I'm more attracted to those kinds of movies because to me it's entertaining than any other types of movies. And there's the I Am Legend by Will Smith. That's another one that attracts my attention. I seem to be encouraged by those kind of movies, and that's what I like, to get myself into.
That's great. That's great to hear. So that was good, hearing about your interest into movies and that sparked your interest into, having an interest about fiction and how that works and, then reflecting that into your writing as well. So when was the time your interest sparked in basically, writing something? So penning it down and watching it is different. So when did your spark basically come up about writing stuff and writing stories?
Uh, I'm encouraged to do that years and years ago when I was in college in University of South Florida, and when I remember I took a semester of speech and writing with a professor in there, and I remember finishing that semester on my last day, and I seem to have went through that semester with very little effort, and I passed it with a good grade. And as I was leaving on that last day, everybody's taking the exam. I was finished, so I got out of the room, and as I was walking, I was the professor got out of the room and followed me on the hallway, and told me, "You're gonna do great. So you're gonna do great in writing and speech." And I didn't really believe in myself, but then I started thinking, somebody believed on me. So it's like this might be something I need to do because I'd like to tell stories. I've been doing that for years, even when I was a little kid.
That's wonderful to hear, sir. So coming to our very main thing about, this short interview that we are going to talk about is the book, which is Titanic Kid Servants. And that is the
Yes.
reason why, I'm interviewing you as well, because I read that book. I loved it. So, I thought that, maybe I should connect with the author and try to bring him on board and ask him as well that what is this book about, and give us a brief overview. Of course, I do not want you to give too much spoilers because I want that to keep for the viewers, for the readers. But just a brief overview what this book is about, at which era we are talking about, and what's the genre.
Well, this is the era would be back in the 1912, and but it had to happen years later. The story actually happened based on 1912, but then the story happened decades later. And I was going to give the voice to the young kids that have served the Titanic, RMS Titanic, back on those days, where they are just as young as 15 years old. So they're out there on a ship serving. That might be their first time being in a ship, and that would be the first time that they worked also. And so they were just excited about their job. serve people and the rich people. And then things happen. The tragedy happened, and they struck that iceberg, and the whole ocean liner sank, and they were not allowed to escape. They're not allowed to get in a boat or a lifeboat to go somewhere else. And I can just picture these little kids crying in there. They probably wanted to see their parents, their moms, and their dads. And so I just like thought maybe I need to write a book about these kids, giving them a second chance and giving them voices of what happened to them, and maybe even in the form of a ghost or you know paranormal type. And then so I thought maybe if there's another couple more characters in the book that I can throw in to narrate the paranormal kids, so they come out from being dead to finally ghosts that shows themselves in the movie, in a book actually. And that's what it is all about. That's that Titanic book.
All right. So
It's an interesting book.
That's true. That's true. When I read it, in my
Hmm.
mind, Titanic was something different because, we
Right.
watched the DiCaprio movie. For us, it was more about romantic something. Whenever,
Right.
I think about Titanic, the tragedy, more than the tragedy, a love story
Hmm.
comes into my mind. But this book gave me a
Hmm.
whole different perspective. Now I'm also thinking about from the perspective of bellboys, of even the
Correct.
band which was, playing in that movie. So because most of our generation could connect uh, with that tragedy with a
Hmm.
movie, but I think this book has given me a whole different perspective
Different
regarding
kind.
how now I can look at this strategy, because of course that was quite a tragedy for those boys, for those servant boys, and the way you narrated from their perspective, that was spectacular. And I thought that I am living in that era. I thought that I am there. I thought that I'm in the Titanic, so it was like
Hmm.
pretty great. So coming back, if anyone wants to read it, any viewer wants to read it, from where they can read this book?
This is actually exclusively in Amazon. So either they can get a Kindle. If you have a Kindle gadgets, you can download it. If you have an unlimited Kindle, or you can just purchase it. It's a small price, or you can get a print copy. And print copy that they ship it to you right away if you're familiar with Amazon. And good bonus thing is that if you are within my area, I'm here in the Tampa Bay, Florida area. If you are in this area, I can arrange to even sign your book if you are interested.
That's great. So I'm from Pakistan. I wish I could be there and get a book signed as well. But that was great.
Yeah.
And after reading that book, I'm also curious, and I asked you about it as well. That your next book is also coming. So
Yes.
if you can just give me a very short overview about it. That okay, this is what this book is about, because I'm really excited to read that as well. And from your perspective, having that story being narrated, that's great. I want uh you to narrate another story from your great
Hmm.
perspective as well.
Okay. Yeah. The next book is probably coming in a month or a few weeks from now. I'm titling it "Dark Forest Puppeteer," and it's about a creature that lives in the forest that created himself a bunch of puppets, little wooden puppets, and he gives it away to the kids in town during Christmas Day. And there's hundreds of those puppets, and those puppets cause some kind of problems. It's a magical puppets, and so there's a contrast and a conflict there that this story is about. It's a very exciting kid story, and it has some a little girl in there, Maybelle, who's interacting with the creature, which is Kalis. And I will definitely gonna show you a copy of it for everyone that's interested, because he has that's a great fantasy type or in enchanting and charming. People call it charming. Some people already read it. Some type of things that would make people to think about some kind of a magical world. It's an interesting story.
That's great, sir, because being a huge Harry Potter fan, I love fiction. And that is what I found very interesting about your writing
Mhm.
as well. That it somewhat put me in that same sort of mental state where I thought that I was so immersed into that story that I was in Titanic Kid Servants, I was thinking that okay, I'm one of the bellboys. I'm one of the kid servants. So I just want them to whatever. I do not want to spoil the story as well. So yeah, this sounds pretty exciting as well. And I really look forward to have a read at it. I really look forward to look at it. So yeah, it was a short interview, and very much thank you for your time, sir, for
You're
taking
welcome.
out some precious time for me. I know that it's midnight there, and I know it's like morning here, but sir, thank you for taking out the time. So any last remarks or any conclusion which you want to give right now?
Yes, get a hold of it, and perhaps you might even will make more books. And that's what we do. I mean, that's what I would do, and that's what people that help me would like to make as many books as we can, and it's something to do with mystery and paranormal or fantasy, anything that would entertain you. It's the short story books that we're creating down the line. Appreciate all the reviews that you guys, for those people that purchased them. And I've seen some reviews already and appreciate them very much. It does help me out. And
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. Anytime.